All right guys, so I have the 2016 WRX base model, and the 15s come with, all 2015 WRXs come with these 17-inch wheels. The 16 base model and the 17 base model, the premium and limited and STIs all come with different 18-inch wheels. So this is something that I'm definitely looking at changing up, and I thought I had my mind made up, but now I'm kind of looking at a couple options. So I want to see what you guys think. The 17s, they're fine. They're 17 by 8 and with a 55 offset from Subaru. And I think they would have looked way better if it was the same pattern but in an 18-inch wheel. But the 17s just look a little bit small on this body style to me. And so I'm going to go over the 3 things that I kind of considered when I was looking at purchasing wheels, and showing you guys the different options that I'm looking at, and let me know what you think. So when it comes to wheels, it's heavily a personal preference thing. When I first got my car, I spent like 6+ months just looking at different pictures of wheels on this body style. Doing different research, looking at specs, and I finally decided on these, and I got them special ordered from Japan. So let's go ahead and have a look here. All right, so these are the Enkei GTC 01RR. And this is the, I believe they call it the matte titanium gold finish. And so after seeing a bunch on this car, this is what I landed on, but I'm kind of stuck at a dilemma now. And I'm gonna show you guys the other wheels that I recently got. So I kind of came across these wheels by accident. I was just browsing on Craigslist for WRX stuff, and I saw a listing for these, and it was just too good of a deal to pass up. So they are the STI Limited forged BBS wheels, and they're in great condition. A couple of them have minor curb rash, but it can be easily repaired. And originally this is what I wanted to get for my car, but the used prices were just super expensive. You could get a nice pair of aftermarket wheels for the price people were looking for these, but this deal was so crazy I couldn't pass it up. So now I kind of have to decide whether to powder coat these any color I want and go that route, or stick with the Enkeis. So I'm going to kind of talk through what I look for when choosing wheels, and I also want to know what you guys think, so comment below. All right, so the first piece of criteria I consider when looking at wheels is obviously the way that they look. You definitely want to choose wheels that, you know, are both the design of the wheel itself look really good, and then also it complements the lines of the car. Both of these, the spoke pattern is very similar, and so that's kind of the theme I was going for on this car. And also something that goes into the looks too is you want to consider what offset you want. It depends too if you're going to be racing it, if it's just a show car. You want to choose the offset based on kind of what you're looking to do with the car. And also you want to make sure it doesn't rub or anything like that. Both of these, this is a 18 by 8.5 with a 42 offset. And these are 18 by 8.5 with a 55 offset. So in other words, these wheels are going to stick 13 millimeters further out towards the fender. So it's going to be a little bit more of an aggressive offset, but it's still not, it's a pretty mild offset for this car. You can go with most wheels and suspension, you can go up to 38. with an 8.5 wheel. You can even go up to a 9.5 wheel, but you're really flush at that point. So it just kind of depends. I'm going to be using this car on the track eventually for some racing, so I'm not going for the really flush look. I have a little bit more performance orientation in mind, I suppose. So that's the first thing to consider is, you know, how do the wheels look and how do they look on the car with the fitment that you want and the suspension. Another big point to consider about your wheels, especially if you're buying them for any sort of racing or performance orientation, is the weight of the wheel. Having a lighter wheel is basically always better, assuming that it's strong enough for the task. So we're gonna throw these on the scale and see how they stack up. All right, so we're gonna start by weighing the STI Limited wheel. Weighs in at 22.3 pounds. Now we got the Enkei. Weighs in at 19.2 pounds. All right, guys, now the third thing to consider is the price. So obviously, if you want a wheel that's light and strong, that's really well made, it's going to be expensive. If you want something that's light and maybe not the highest quality control, you can get away with a little bit less expensive wheel. And if you want something that's strong but heavy, you can also get a less expensive wheel. So you really have to just weigh the pros and cons. What are you looking to actually do with the wheel? And then go from there. That's where I would start, is decide what you want the wheel for, and then buy the wheel that is best for that application that you love the looks of. So when it comes to price, like I said, these ones, the STI Limited wheels, getting them powder coated any color I want is still half the price of these Enkeis. So I'm leaning towards the Enkeis, but I got such a good deal on these and I absolutely love the look that I'm a little bit tempted to use these, but I'm not sure. We'll find out in the spring which one I choose, but I want to hear from you guys in the comments. What do you think? Which wheel should I go with? If you like this video, subscribe and follow along to see the progress on the WRX.